Hey, everybody. I am here as Kerry Anne King today with Tell Me Your Secrets. Sometimes I'm Kerry Schaefer, sometimes I'm Kerry Anne King. I'm going to be Kerry Anne King today because we're with Lisa Duffy, who is a wonderful author of women's fiction. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Kerry. How are you?
So Lisa's new book is coming out actually next week, and I'm really super excited to have her here today as one of her first stops on her publishing tour, which is weird because COVID, right? So
Yeah.
Everything's different. So the book is called My Kind of People, and Lisa, I'm going to put you on the spot like right from the very beginning and get you to tell everybody a little bit about what your book's about.
Yeah, sure, of course. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. This is my first stop, so we've had a little, trying to figure out the computer situation, but I think we're good now. So My Kind of People is about a young girl who is orphaned for the second time when her parents die in an accident. And it's about the group of people that come together on this New England island to take care of her, and their lives intersect. And it's really about the power of community and how a piece of land can sort of bring us together, but also sometimes divide us.
Right. And that's one of the things I love about this book is the community. It gave you this wonderful opportunity to create this just fabulous cast of characters. So this little girl, she's now being raised by, well, essentially a gay couple.
Yeah.
And there's other people in the community who are really rallied around, and everybody trying to figure out how to best help her. And then there's mysteries and little, well, in a community that's close-knit like that, you're always going to have conflict between some people. And so it's a friendship story. It's a love story. It's a story of finding who you are. Anyway, it's fun.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
Yeah, I think there's I think when you have when the story really started out, I knew it was going to be a story about community. And I wanted to really make the community. The reason I set it on sort of this fictional island in New England was I wanted the island to sort of act as its own character in a way that this community has to work as sort of its own unit, but also in this community, and on this particular street, it's not just a community that's dealing with this, but it's also this. All the characters live on this one street, a winding way, and so they're closely linked to each other. And some of the characters, sort of grown up on this island, and some have just sort of arrived there. And so the island itself is sort of polarizing. Everybody has different feelings about it. And I also wanted I wanted this street to reflect a community, and that it's diverse in lifestyle and age and gender and class. And so that's the fun stuff when you have sort of all these different people who come together, and they really are different. So they were fun to write.
Yeah, and it gives your child this wonderful richness, really, of resources that she can draw
to play with. Yeah, and kids are fun to write anyway because they're just there's a different way that I think kids approach topics, and gives you some freedom as a writer to play around a little bit. There's not these sort of social norms that are imposed on them. And Sky sometimes reacts to things the way that a 10-year-old would react, which is really fun.
It is, and I love her name, Sky. I mean,
Sky. Yeah, well, she was named after Hurricane Skylar. So yeah, it was interesting, trying to go back and figure out, what actually are the names of various hurricanes and, what would work. And so there was some interesting research for this book that I found myself doing that, like we said, you kind of go down a rabbit hole with it.
I love rabbit holes, but and the hurricane, it really did come through the island as a character. And I do want to say, we were talking a little bit before we came live here, Lisa and I, that, you know, at this point, I know a lot of you as readers are not wanting to get into anything that's too dark because we're all feeling dark or at least the environment feels a little dark right now. And this book, when I first picked it up, I thought it might be, but it isn't at all, really. It's a story of resilience and hope and relationships, and I laughed and I cried and, you know, all the good things. So Lisa, all that said, would you do us a huge favor and read like about the first page of this for our readers? I have a lot of listeners who love hearing that first page.
Okay, so this is the book. There you go.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
For those of you who are listening, she's showing us a beautiful cover of My Kind of People, and you'll just have to hop online and have a look and buy it while you're there, because, you know, that's the thing to do.
Okay, so this is just the first page. In the hours before dawn, she slips out of the house and runs. She knows the way by heart, even though she's only 10, and the land swells around her like the mother's bosom she never knew. She follows a path that winds near the cliff, the edge nipping at her feet, threatening to swallow her whole, spit her out on the rocky shore below. She left the men sleeping. Xavier passed out on the couch, but Leo roamed the house all night, as though he knew she might leave. Even stood over her bed once while she pretended to sleep, her back to him, his shadow on the wall looming through her half-lidded eyes. When she finally heard his breathing, slow and deep from the other room, she left, silently and swiftly, even though the night was soundless and black. She was good at that, disappearing in the cracks between light and sound. The wind licks her ankles. Spray from the water below clings to her hair, coats her legs and arms in the icy Atlantic. She pauses on the cliff above the ocean. Her foot tingles, ready to step, but the night grips her body, presses against her until she's flattened, as though she's a leaf pressed between pages, the darkness sandwiching her in place. She thought it would be easy, simple even, to step into nothing, to sail off the earth just like her parents had done, the wind taking her breath, filling the emptiness inside her body. But Ichabod Island won't let her. When her toes touch the edge of the granite rock, the island stirs. The trees bend, the wind howls, and the ocean roars, and the lighthouse glares until she turns and runs, her feet pounding the dirt path through the woods. When the sun finds her later in a wooden house high in the trees, safely away from the cliff, sound asleep on a bed of feathers, she doesn't stir. She doesn't feel the day rise above her, the cloudless sky peering down with its bright yellow eye. She sleeps soundly, on her own, just like she should be, just like she came into the world. Nobody knows she's gone. The men don't know she ran away. When they find out, they'll ask why. Over and over, they'll ask why. She won't have an answer. She never does. She's not even sure there is one. So that's the start.
And that is just, the writing is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. It's so
settings
awesome.
like that help, you know, when you have a great setting, you can play with words a little bit, and you know, and it's this little girl out at night, and you know, this in one of her ends up in one of her favorite tree houses.
Right.
And so it was really it was a fun passage to play with and to get right. You know, I feel like it had to have a certain tone to it. And so it was one of the things I could probably still keep playing with it. You know, you just keep going back
forever,
trying to make it better. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I used to say. Until they drag this manuscript from my clutching fingers, I will be continually revising.
Yeah, sometimes they drag it, and sometimes you throw it at them because you can't take it anymore.
No, it has to be done.
Yeah, you could play with it forever for sure.
Yeah. Well, and it sets up the mystery beautifully, and the island, you know, Ichabod Island won't let her. I think that was the point where I was totally in. I remember reading that actually. Yeah, it's like I love when a place does become a character like that.
Yeah, and you know that I really when I was writing it, it wasn't really one place that, I've always been so intrigued. I've done some traveling to sort of warmer weather islands. And to me, they don't hold a candle to, these sort of New England places that they're just, sort of stunning in their landscape, but
Right.
also, the different people that you meet. I love to go to places like Nantucket and P-Town and Chatham off season. When there's this huge swell of tourists during the year, and then they empty out, and you might have one or two restaurants open, and the it's not just about the people watching, but you just get such a sense of the bones of someplace like that.
Right.
And I think it takes a certain person to live in a place year round like that. I'd like to think that I could do it. I'd like to give it a shot one day. I'm not sure if I could convince my husband to go there. But it would be interesting to try to live year round somewhere where you have, maybe four times the population for a couple months, and then to get off the island, you're taking a ferry to get somewhere. It's just
Right.
it's intriguing.
Yeah, yeah. It would. I like to think that I would like to live somewhere like that too, but I don't. I don't know. I live in
Yeah,
a small place, mind you, but I'd like to know that I can get in my car and just drive somewhere, and I don't need to
sure.
wait for a ferry. So, are you on the East Coast then? Somewhere? Where are you located?
Yeah, I grew up in a town right outside of Boston, and now I'm on the South Shore, not far from the Cape. Um, yeah, and we live on a tidal river, and so yeah, we're coastal right now,
Oh,
which is fun. We love it. I'm not sure, once you start living by the water, it's hard to live anywhere else.
yeah. I can see that. I love the ocean. I don't live near it, but I definitely like to visit. I have mountains, so I'm okay. But so
Yeah.
you keep saying we, and so I'm going to ask, who is in the house with you? Are you guys on lockdown or just suggestion?
Yes, yeah. Massachusetts got hit pretty hard. So we've been on lockdown since I think, maybe mid-March. Um, Hi, Christy. Um, so my husband and I have six kids between us. We're a blended family.
Oh my
We've been
gosh.
together, yeah, for 15 years. So they range from almost 37 to 17, and everybody lives. I mean, my three kids are 21, 19, 17, and they're all home. Um, Two
Oh,
are, college age, and the other one is doing school remotely. She's a junior in high school. But everybody's local, which is good. But we're missing getting together. We do family dinners pretty frequently, and there's a lot of us now because my three stepdaughters are married. So when we get together, it's there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of tentacles out in various places with jobs and whatnot. So we're doing our part to social distance, and uh, you know hoping that we'll start to see some progress in the near
yeah,
future here.
right. So is this changing your plans a lot as far as your release of the book, which is out next
Yeah.
Tuesday? Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, we had a lot. We had a pretty comprehensive tour planned, with a lot of dates, and I mean everything right now, all the way through July, basically has been put virtually, which is kind of amazing in itself. I mean, I'm just shocked that we're even doing this. The fact that the literary world has just responded so amazingly to doing online events, and you look
Right.
at like Mighty Blaze, the stuff that you're doing. I mean, the fact that I'm coming out with a book and I even have any avenues to get online and talk about it is really, amazing and heartening and fascinating. And all the bookstores, the indie bookstores, Belmont Books. I grew up in Belmont. They're doing my launch, and I'm gonna get to talk with Stacey Armand from Prose and Palette. She's a book reviewer on Instagram, and then we're doing an event through Inkfish Books from Rhode Island. Tick Homes, I think, is every indie that we were set up with is sort of going to a virtual So, I think it's fun for people at home. You can stay in your pajamas. You don't actually like, I
Yeah.
actually put on makeup today. So, you won't have to do that, people, if you want to come and hear me talk. So it's kind of neat. And, I wonder how much will change going forward, because
Right.
I do think the accessibility of it, I've had a lot of people sort of get in touch with me and say, like, this is so cool that I can go to your launch for the first time,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Right.
And so, I'm a firm believer in every blessing as a curse, and every curse is a blessing. And I think, what's happening right now with books is, there's a blessing to it. And I think it's just been really cool to see everybody come together.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, because I'm a big believer in that too, and I really focus on finding the blessings. I think the more
Yeah.
that you look at the blessing side, the more blessings there are likely to be. So
Yeah, it's an
I
easier life if we can, try to look at the good stuff, because, it's
yeah,
hard enough anyway. And I think, if you just try to focus on the positive stuff that's coming
right,
out of this.
for sure.
Um,
I'm curious how this is working with the indie bookstores. So are they going to set up like a Zoom thing then, and you're going to come on, or are they going to interview you, or do you know how it's going to
yeah,
work?
I do. So, things like the Mighty Blaze, they're doing like Facebook Live events. And
Uh-huh.
so I think it seems to be mostly either Facebook Live events, but for the indie bookstores and the events, most of them are sending out a link, and they'd like people to register. And then they'll send you out sort of like an email registration. So then you're part of the event that's happening. And most of them are just, doing them 7 o'clock at night, like a regular
Right.
reading.
That is so cool.
And yeah, you can submit questions. So if you want to ask me anything. So yeah, I think they're going to be probably fairly well attended, just because people
Yeah.
can just click on, even if, they might be watching something in the background, just to say hello and, check things out.
Right, that's really cool. So is there a place where people can go to, find out what all your events are going to be
Yeah,
and get in on
so
that?
yeah, I can. So I'm on my Instagram and Facebook. Those are my two main ones. I'm not
Uh-huh.
a huge Twitter girl, I have to say. I'm on Twitter, but I'm sort of like sadly on Twitter. Like, I couldn't even just get rid of Twitter. Like, some things I repost, but it bums me out when I'm on there. It's not my thing.
It's not a
And
happy
so
place anymore. I used to hang out
yeah,
there like a long
like
time ago. I was there all the time. Now I'm like,
yeah, it's not. I feel like some people have their favorites, and maybe
yeah,
one day it will be for me, but it's not right now.
yeah.
So Instagram, I'm at Lisa Duffy writer, I think. Um, and then I have an author Facebook page, and my website, which is lisaduffywriter.com. And it has a graphic with all of my upcoming events, I think all the way till like June 9th or something like that. And then if you go to my Facebook author page, there's an actual link, so you can click on them and sign up. And
Okay.
I'll be putting some more on as we sort of figure out the rest of the summer.
Right. I'm sure it's just kind of evolving as it goes
It is.
along. Yeah.
I mean, I was supposed to be in Texas with Cindy Burnett and Krista Hensel. They run Conversations from a Page, which is a great book club out of Texas. And I
Uh-huh.
had booked my flight, and I was ready to
Oh,
go. And we just decided to do it online. It was going to be with Daniela Petrova, who wrote Her Mother's Daughter, and she's in New York City. And so it just, the thought of us in a couple of weeks getting on a plane to go to Houston it just wasn't going to happen. And
right.
so, I feel like you try to get a couple of weeks ahead of things to give people, time to plan them and stuff like that.
Right.
So, we'll take it as it comes. I have a couple events planned in September, but
Right.
I don't think we'll know until maybe August what that looks like.
What's going to happen? Yeah, it's all, who knows, it's all, every
Exactly.
day it's a whole new adventure. You
Yeah,
don't know what's going to
exactly.
happen. So speaking of the always evolving, I'm curious about you, and, did you always plan to be this, wonderful author, or did you have some other things that you were thinking you might do with your life?
Yeah, I always loved writing and reading. I think my first love, and my first love I would still love to be. I really wanted to be like a singer-songwriter, guitar player. My dad played guitar, and he's really talented, and I grew up with him playing for me and for our family. And he taught me how to play when I was about 10, and I practiced every day for years and years and years. And at some point, you got to recognize that, like, your the amount of dedication that you're like, your perseverance isn't matching your talent, basically. And I never sort of graduated from like the songs that he gave me. I mean, it was pretty clear, I think, by the time I was like 15 or 16 that, or 17, that it was going to be just a hobby. And it is now. I still play, but I mostly like close the door and just play. So I think that was the first thing that I really wanted to do. And then, it's not like I thought like, oh, I'll try writing after that. It was sort of like, doing these things in tandem. I didn't really think I wasn't really prepared to take my writing seriously until I think my mid 30s. I had got a job and got married, and then my youngest, 3 kids later, my youngest went to kindergarten full time. And I thought, I'm not going to go back to, I was in software before. I just sort of landed there. And I had continually been writing anyway. And I had some time on a bachelor's degree that I still had to finish. And so I just decided to go back to school, and I took a creative writing course. And that's where I really started the first chapter of my novel, my debut novel, The Salt House. And luckily, that class, the professor was wonderful, and he encouraged me to apply to like an advanced writing course. This was at UMass Boston, and I applied and I got in. And the director of the professor of that class happened to be the director of the MFA program for fiction, and so I sort of I finished up the bachelor's degree in May, and I started a 3-year MFA program in September. So I was in school for 6 years throughout my 30s. I know. But I loved it. I loved every second of it. I mean, I had gone to college right out of high school, and it took a break from it because I was there for communications, and it just wasn't, hi, Tina, my sister-in-law just came on. Can they hear me say hi?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, hi. Okay. That's funny. You can tell I'm new to this, right? I'm like, oh, yeah. So that was sort of the beginning of really feeling like there was a way that I could do this seriously, and it really gave me the tools to sort of figure out what I wanted to write about, and it gave me the time to write. I mean, I was working part-time but in raising my kids. But when you have that, time when you're in an MFA program, you're expected to show up with work. Right. And so you better damn well do it. And it really made me, understand deadlines. It made me understand that, it's not just a creative whim. It's you sit down and you do the work. And it's really been hugely beneficial to me.
Right. Yeah, I totally, by the way, I get that. I would be a student forever, probably, if anybody would pay for me.
I know. Me too. I'd love to go back and like get my PhD, and I don't know, something not too hard, but just so I could be there again.
Yeah, just for fun.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, having to write, and I'm making quotation marks if you're just listening, because I love to write, but having that reason, that easy excuse, instead of creating the boundaries with everybody in your family and your time, I'm writing because I really think it's important. You can just say, I have a class, I have homework, and now it's deadlines, right? Now we get deadlines.
It's true. Yeah. And, I guess, again, there's sort of a blessing and a curse, because it makes you sort of sit down and get the work done, even when, you might not be feeling overly creative on any given day.
I honestly, I think creativity kind of shows up if you invite it in. And so there's that, making a structure where some days may not be that great, but to just show up at least for a while and give it that opportunity, and then, keep
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I'm one of those weird people. I like deadlines. Honestly, I always have. It's a, I don't know, it's an oddity, but I do like them, and they do help me get stuff done, and they actually inspire me and make me feel more creative. It takes me forever to do something without a deadline.
That's funny. Yeah. I was just answering a question about this actually in an interview. Somebody had asked me, how creativity works with me. Do I have to sort of sit around and wait? And if I'm not feeling overly creative, how does that translate every day? And, I thought it was a really honest, good question, because every writer, deals with that. And, my answer was sort of just that. I mean, I think if you show up more than not, and sort of sit down, as many days as you possibly can. I mean, I like to work Monday through Friday. And, obviously in the middle of this pandemic, my schedule has been a little crazy. And I have a dog. I have a black lab that he likes to go out pretty much every hour and a half. So, that's put a little dent in things. But, I think if you really try to structure your day so that you get at least some time at the desk, that's the only way to make forward progress, because, you like to think that a book can come together just by thinking about it, but it doesn't. I wish it did.
Those overnight fairies just don't do their thing. They don't, show up and write the book for you. What's that fairy tales, the shoemaker or whatever, or the little elves used to come make the shoes for him while he was sleeping? I always thought it. Wouldn't it be something to wake up in the morning and come to your desk and a big chunk had just written itself while you slept?
Yeah, I guess if you're, James Peterson, that happens, and I'm not.
Yeah, right. Yeah, not for me. Well, so Lisa, thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else that you would like for listeners to know about, your books, anything that you want to share before we sign off here today?
I think that I'm just really happy to have them as readers. This is my third book, and I've been so welcomed by the reading community, and it's so fun to sort of see your book get out there. And I have a great team at Atria, and they've sent a bunch of finished copies and ARCs out. And so I feel like every time I go on Instagram, there's this like amazing new picture of my book. The latest one, this reader posted, it's her dog in bed, sort of like holding the book. And it's unbelievable. It so made my day. I mean, some of these bookstagrammers, they just get, and reviewers, they get, they approach you can see and feel the love that they have for books. Yeah. And, it's been an amazing gift to me as a writer to have people who are, so willing to, say, hey, I really connected with this, and to, show their love for something. So I just want to say I'm really thankful for all those readers. And I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to get out and say hello to you in person, but I hope everybody will come out to some of these virtual events, and I'm guaranteed live to say something or do something ridiculous. So I'm sort of known for, if my mother's watching, I think she is, but she handed down to me this really awful trait where we love to speak in idioms and sayings, and we massacre them all the time. And so, if you talk to me probably for like another half hour, I'll say something and you'll be like, what? What is she talking about?
Now, see, I'm really disappointed because none of that happened on my show. And I live for moments like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to come out of the gate strong and not look like a total moron. So, I'm trying to be good. But, watch one of my events in like, maybe 2 weeks when I'm a little bit tired and, maybe I've had a glass of wine, and believe me, you'll see it.
Yeah. I was talking to a friend. I think what would be really fun and a show like this that is totally missing so far would be drunk writers, like drunk history. So like having the interview literally with many drinks, but that's okay. Not for us today.
Not for us. Not at 4 o'clock.
I want you all to I want to refresh your memory about where Lisa said she can be found. So you can find her on Facebook as Lisa Duffy, and her name is spelled Lisaduffy for those of you who are just listening and not able to see us. Her website is it lisaduffy.com?
It's Lisa Duffy Writer.
lisaduffywriter.com, and that's where you're going to see a pic with all of her currently scheduled events. So that
there's another. So this is kind of a funny thing. There's another Lisa Duffy, and she was here first, so I had to be Lisa Duffy Writer. But there's another Lisa Duffy, and she's actually an expert. She's a divorced Catholic writer. Like she's Catholic, and she writes about like how to be a divorced Catholic person. Okay. So anyway, I'm the least. It's kind of a funny joke because I'm the least. I feel I'm very spiritual, but I'm the least religious person. But often I've been doing interviews, and people are like, "You're so busy. You write fiction, but you also write, about being divorced." And I'm like, "No, it's not me."
Okay. So, if you see the books about being a divorced Catholic, that's not our Lisa. It's a different Lisa.
Yeah.
Not this Lisa.
Yeah. So I'm at Lisa Duffy Writer, and then Duffy Writer, and I think my Instagram is Lisa Duffy Writer as well. Okay. Just search me. I'm out there. Yeah. If you see a black lab in my Instagram, it's me.
Okay. If you see a black lab, it's this Lisa. If you see something about being divorced, probably not. So that's
divorce maybe, but Catholic.
Divorce, but not okay. Not writing books about that. So before we go, this is my own little, for me, again, my A Borrowed Life arcs are available right now only to my inner circle people and to the people on my blog tour. So if you want a copy, make sure that you're in my inner circle. So just go to kerryanneking.com, join the newsletter, Inner Circle. There's a ongoing until Mother's Day is over, actually giveaway. So if you join now, just email me and tell me you want in. And that's about it for today. Go read a good book. Go check out Lisa's new book. You can pre-order it now. It's coming out on Tuesday. It's called My Kind of People. You're going to love it. And that's about it for now. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves and everybody else. Thanks again, Lisa, for coming.
Thank you, Kerry. Bye, everyone.
Bye.